Guys, welcome back to my channel, Michi Makes Up. I have another SUQQU video for you. So for SUQQU fans returning, welcome back. I am excited to review this collection. This is SUQQU's pre-summer 2022 collection. It's called Seaglass, and it is, as the name implies, based on the sea, but also has some like mermaid fantasy thing folded into the theme. I think once you see the colors and the texture of the eyeshadow quads, I think it'll start to make a little bit more sense. But I did pick up two of the quads. These were the two quads released as part of the collection. And I have here 114 Sumi Midori. And very fitting for Seaglass, seeing that, you know, this is like a sea green, a seafoam green, or a mint green, and they've got a navy blue matte here, and then very sparkly shades. I'll be swatching all of these and demoing them by creating a look. And then the other quad is called 113 Nemi Migaki. And this is beautiful as well. I did swatch this and put it on Instagram, TikTok as well. So maybe you guys, by the time you see this video, you've seen the swatches already. They also released two pure color blushes. I picked up 131, and the name of that blush is SUQQU. And this is beautiful. I do not have any blushes that is quite purple, like this purple. Usually it's either kind of like a deeper berry, or it is more pink than it is purple. But this is like wisteria, or maybe not quite lavender, maybe wisteria. And it swatched really beautifully as well, so I'm really excited to actually go in here and put this on my cheeks. Because with SUQQU and their limited edition collections, they're notorious to sell out immediately the moment it launches on the website. So this actually came out, was available at Selfridges, I want to say 3 weeks ago. And of course, a lot of the pieces have sold out. One of the blushes, I believe, is still available. It is the pink blush, but I'll talk more about the pink blush. I have some thoughts on that one. I didn't pick it up, but I have some thoughts on that one. But it is going to be available at Harrods and Liberty London at the time of filming, so it'll be tomorrow. By the time you see this, it should already be launched on their website. I'll also keep an eye on their website today and just post on Instagram. So because they are retailers based in the UK, they are ahead of us, and typically it's evening and maybe midnight over here by the time they launch. So there's all the information on how you can get a hold of the collection, but there are some other ways. You can also get a shopper to buy directly from Japan for you as well if you see something you like. But I would like to offer some alternatives, because in terms of their makeup, they have just really nice products. And as much as the limited edition collection, I think when you apply the word limited edition to something, and if it's truly limited, it does make people kind of perk up and get very excited. But if you are not really hung up, or like if you're like, I want these specific colors, they have a few options in their permanent collection that I think are just as great in quality. I think you'll be happy if you've never tried SUQQU makeup before and you go after one of the permanent collection items. In no way do I think they, not only do they not perform as well, or I mean, not only do they perform just as well, but I think there's something really special about the permanent collection too. So as I talk about these products at the end, when I do comparisons and give you guys some alternative options, you can take that into consideration as well. So let me go in and swatch Sumi Midori 114. I'll start with what I think is probably the most beautiful shade from this quad. This kind of, well, not rosy, like kind of baby pink metallic. I wouldn't be able to wear it all over my lids as a one and done because I think it'll wash me out a little bit, but if I could, I totally would. It's beautiful. I think it rivals my favorite shade or shadow from Natasha Denona. This one here is that gold shade. It certainly can give you a very glistening, wet eyeshadow look. And it is a lid topper. Then we have this beautiful aquamarine green, seafoam green. Actually, they do have an official description for the shade. Just let me look it up real quick and let me get back to you guys. They actually call it ocean colored teal. Not exactly what I expected for the description. So that's a second swatch. And I do think this is also more of a lid topper rather than an all over shade. These two are notably more glittery than this shade here. Now we're going into the matte blue. So there was some shadow that kind of just fell in, and it looks patchy from the swatch, but as you diffuse it, it starts distributing and kind of spreading in a good way. So I was initially a little bit concerned for the mattes, but now that I kind of went in to spread it out, diffuse some more, it looks good. And it is something you can pack on, you can add more to get a more pigmented look out of it as well. Next is Nami Migaki, and we'll start with the metallic shade up top, the corally pink. And it's beautiful. It's almost like cotton candy, like a deeper cotton candy pink. And then we have the purple lid topper. Followed by the rose gold shade. I would say the texture of this shade and this here, the sea colored teal or ocean colored teal, are quite similar, but this is noticeably more pigmented. And this is something you could use all over your lids and have that more apparent. I mean, I'm sure you can do that too and just pack it on a little bit more to get more pigment out of it, but this will give you more impact. And then for the purple matte shade, so very similar to that blue. I'm just gonna go in a few times here. I'm not taking more product from the pan. I'm just diffusing and smoothing it out. All right, let's get into the blush. So for the Pure Color blush, these blushes, they are, I guess you can call it duotone. Some of the duotone or some of the Pure Color blushes, the duotone is way more obvious because it's not this like shimmery kind of pink and silvery or pink and white. The tone might actually be like a lighter pink or a lighter orange, for example. And then the deeper shade, the deeper tone out of the two is typically on the opposite side. So this looks a little bit strange, but that's because I've already went into it. It looks much prettier before you swatch it when you first open it. So I'm going to go into this light shade here, and it won't be that easy to see, but I think you'll see the glisten on the camera. So you see this, it does have a kind of purple pinkish glisten to it. And it's very subtle, which it's supposed to be. And then we'll go into the purple, just the purple. It's got this pinkish purple. I thought it would be actually a lot more purple than it looks, but I think that makes sense. We're not trying to go for a full-on like purple cheeks. You do want a little bit of pink to give you a little bit of flush. Finally, for the last swatch here, you can see this top part here is basically me taking a finger and going across like this to get both, and that's what I'm going to do. because this is a mixture of the two and is usually typically how I prefer to wear the blush. Because this tone here gives you a soft sheen, and the pigment, the deeper tone is what gives you the pigment for the blush. So combined, it gives you this like soft diffused look. I think their Pure Color blushes are absolutely gorgeous. I have another one that I picked up from my collection to show you. I find this Pure Color blush, this is from 2 years ago, or no, it's from last year, and it is also a limited edition collection, so it's no longer available, but it is, I find it to be very similar to this year's this collection, the pre-summer 2022 collection, to be similar to their pink blush. I know it's not going to be the same. There's going to be a tonal difference between, I mean, both shades, but especially the more pigmented one, the pink one. But if you were hoping to get a hold of 126 from last year, you could get this year's pre-summer 2022 pink blush, kind of in lieu of this. And that blush is still available at Selfridges when I checked yesterday. So this is still, well, something similar to this from the collection now is still available. So I will have a link below. I will have links below to alternatives and other retailers where you can get the collection from. All right, let's move on to the demo. And I will create a look on, I mean, one quad on each eye, and then we'll use the blush afterwards. I'm going to go into the shade here and place that all over the lids. Then we're taking the shade here and we're placing that at the, starting from the inner corner, moving upwards. I find that, and I didn't mention this during the swatches, but I find the shade is actually really similar to this pink shade. They look totally different and separate, but they don't look unique enough next to each other. So when you layer it on, you really can't see much of this. So what I'm getting out of it is more like a slightly different texture and finish. It's not really showcasing this shade by itself. So that's why I think, you know, even though it's more pigmented, it's not really strong enough to kind of outdo this shade. Therefore, for looks, you might want to do, you know, you're choosing one color to put all over your lids. I think you choose either between this one or this one. And then taking the matte purple shade, I'm just going to put this starting right here in the upper lash line. Then I'm going to blend it out. I'm not really going to extend it into the outer corner. I just wanted to deepen the upper lash line just enough, not too much. I'm going to go back. I didn't put more onto the brush. I didn't try to get more product. I just want to add a bit more depth here. And blending once again. Then with a finger, taking this lid topper here, just adding it to the center. But I do want to focus on the lower lash line because I think when you blink and you see more of that sparkle, it's really pretty. And then if you want to, you could extend that upwards a little bit. I don't want to overdo this because I still have daytime in mind for the look, but you can certainly play around and see what you like. So that is Namimigaki on the right lid. Let's get into Sumi Midori. Taking the shade here, I am placing that all over the lids because I'm very curious if it will wash me out. I think it will, but we'll see. Definitely a little bit too light. Well, actually, if I'm going for a very light, natural makeup look, this would be fine. In front of the studio lighting, you see more of the beigey pink or blush pink part of it. When I look probably in daylight, it's gonna be maybe a little bit lighter, but I don't mind using it as a base for this look. So saying this green here is really light, I'm gonna put it to the test and see if I could do something different, build on top of it. I've seen some really nice looks from friends using the shade, and I'm going to, I don't know that I want to line it all the way through, so I'm just going to focus here to the outer corner. And then I'm going to pop some of the gold onto the inner corner. I'm taking this flat definer brush from Sonia G. I'm just going to, it's so nice and light that I don't want to overdo the navy blue and just have it overtake it, because this is really nice. I'm going to lightly add that on the upper lash line, and then we'll see if we want to extend it to the lower lash line. And then the lower lash line. Because I don't want the green to be too obscured by this deep matte blue, I'm taking this again and just putting it here. Sort of blending it into the blue a little bit, soften it up. All right, I think this looks okay. Let me put on some mascara and then we'll come back for the blush. I think this blush, the colors are a perfect match for this brush. I mean, it could be a little bit more pink, but I'm so drawn to this combination right now. So I did wipe off as much as I can. Actually, let me do that some more. So just make sure we're not getting pink on there. And I'm just gonna go in and basically do this. I want more purple, the deeper tone, than I want this light shade, but I think it's nicely coated. And I'm just going to lightly blush it on, or brush it on, blush it on, huh? And that's the thing with the pure color blushes, they're just very light, hard to overdo, but gives you a diffuse, soft look. And this might not be everybody's thing, a really light blush color. I'm going back in for more. But because it's just so soft, and it is buildable, that's why a lot of people enjoy these blushes. Okay, let's go on to the other side. If you do want more of a diffuse look than what I have right now, you could focus more on this or get more of it and kind of go like this, brushing into the deeper shade. So you can kind of see the difference. I mean, I have two applications on here. This is one, but you can already see there's more of a glisten. And if you like this, but you want more pigment, then you can go back and just focus on here and add more that way. So I think this collection is beautiful. I thought that I would actually enjoy this more. Nami Migaki. And these are beautiful shades, but it is the other one, Sumi Midori, that's kind of surprised me. Just because I thought maybe like the green would be too soft, but you can mix the blue with the green, actually. I did that sort of unintentionally down here. I put on the blue first and diffused it with the green, but you can actually take a brush and, you know, go into the shade first and then this one to give you something different. And I think this is this color combination is not what we see often, or at least not recently. And especially with navy blue, it's kind of been out of style a little bit. There was a lot of navy back in like maybe the 80s and 90s. Not so much in recent years. Like in the 2000s, we have like really bright, bold colors, like this eye, for example. There's also consistently a lot of purple, mauves, etc. But this one I think stands out the most in this collection, this color combination. For the blush, really pretty. I enjoy how you can wear it in different ways. I'm just reminded, like, there's a lot of versatility in a single blush compact from SUQQU, these pure color blushes. And I think I do prefer going in from the softer tone to the deeper tone. I do think generally that's how they want you to use it anyway, and not kind of swipe from here to here, because you're gonna lose this lighter tone over time if you do that. And I've done it with this blush I showed you earlier. I had to go in and clean this up a little bit to show you what that other tone looks like, but since this is like pretty pigmented, and when I was brushing this way, I definitely, or even when I swatch, I definitely moved a lot of the deeper pigment and cover this lighter part here. So for comparisons slash alternatives, I want to show you things from the permanent collection, because I think they get talked about when they release and I don't see it come up again. There's a lot that's interesting and pretty about them, so I definitely want to give them a shout out. Oh, before I do that, let's put on some lipstick. That was the last step. So with this collection, they're releasing 2 Comfort Flow Fluid Fogs, which I did not pick up because I have a couple here and they are, or I have 2 here and both are, I think both would go with either of these looks. And so let me show you. And this is not limited edition. This is number 8. So I think this would go with either. And 107 is limited edition. But just to show you guys some shade selection. And I think the purple would go as well. What do we think? Maybe let's go with 08, because it's not limited edition and it's a little bit more neutral than the purple. So there is the Comfort Lip Fluid Glow in 05, and I know it looks not very matte right now, but it's gonna dry down and the texture will be noticeably matte by then. The reason why these lines are called Comfort Lip Fluid, oh sorry, did I call it Comfort Lip Fluid Glow? No, this is 08 Comfort Lip Fluid Fog. The reason why they're called Fog is because of that kind of velvet matte finish. There is, from the same line, there is the Comfort Lip Fluid Glow, which has a glossy finish. So this is 105. So this is limited edition as well. But it is neutral in shade. And as you can see, these 2 are beginning to dry down. This will not. It will stay glossy like this. So you can call it a satin finish, but I think it's quite glossy. And they're both beautiful, so it just depends on what finish you prefer. You can find similar shades in the Fluid Glow and the Fluid Fog, like similar shades to each other. So I think it just comes down to, you know, what your preference is. It's interesting that they chose the Fog line to come up with this collection, and maybe it's just a contrast against how glittery some of the shades are from the quads. And the other lipstick I want to talk about that are not limited edition, and I think they're worth a shout out every time I can give it to them, is their sheer matte lipsticks that came out in the fall. So I have here number 8, another purpley shade. These are noticeably more matte just because they're not liquid. They are sheer, but they're buildable in pigment, and I never felt like, wow, too much of my lip color is showing. I'm not getting the pigment that I really like. Not the case. I do have review videos on all of these products, so I'll have my SUQQU playlist below, and specifically if you're interested in these sheer matte lipsticks, there's a whole video where I go through, I think, 5 shades or so from the collection. And then in terms of the quads, so if you are seeing this for the first time or you're new to SUQQU overall, it'll probably be difficult to get the quads and possibly this, you know, purple blush. However, they do have, or they just released 2 spring permanent collections that I think are really beautiful. They're not the same as these 2, understandably, because they're from different collections overall. However, I find that they're just as fun to get into. So we have here 07 Beniseki. I really like Beniseki. When I first got it, I kept wearing it for the first like 3 weeks or so. And then I just want to hold up and show you, not the same, they're quite different from each other, but you get to try out, you know, like a pinky shade, and then there's that warmer gold shade here. Not the same, but there is a gold shade to play with, and then you've got this kind of fuchsia-y metallic. And this shade is also a, is it a satin? Yes, this is actually a satin, the gray. And it's beautiful. The other from the Spring Permanent Collection is, and if you like teal, this might be for you, is 08 Kazenade. This shade here, and this orange is fun, a lot of fun. And I feel like if I hold up this teal next to, you know, mixing of the blue matte and that sparkly teal shade, or ocean colored teal, you kind of get this vibe. Now up close you're going to see more glitter that you're not going to get from this, but shade wise you're getting similar vibes. So I'm not saying that they're so similar or the same, it's not, but there's beauty in all of them and I really enjoy them. I also have full reviews and demos and swatches of these 2 permanent quads, so check that out if you're interested. For the final comparison, there's one more permanent item or permanent collection I want to talk about. This is brand new to the line that came out end of winter, like for spring of this year. It is their powdered blushes. I have here 02 Haru Oto. It is, and they actually have a purple shade too. Unlike their pure color blushes, it's not two-tone, it's a single tone, but the whole concept, like all the shade range they released as part of this permanent collection, were meant to be like neutral. They're not really neutral shades, but because they're so soft in the formulation and I guess the tones they picked, is that it generally goes with most looks. There are some deeper colors, deeper shades, and some brighter shades, and I have 3 of them total, but I find that no matter how much I mix and match, it just kind of goes with whatever eye look I have. So it really just depends on your own preference, but I'll swatch Haru Oto. And you're like, oh, this is pretty pigmented, like will it truly go with all these different looks? It will, and once you place it on the cheek, it gives you that diffused, softened effect. The way that I interpret these powder blushes, I think they're called melting powder blushes, compared to the pure color blushes, is almost like instead of having two-tone, it's just one shade but then the powders they have in that lighter tone from Pure Color Blush that gives you this glisten, I feel like it's mixed in already. I'm sure it's not exactly the same, but it produces that same like softened effect. These are beautiful. I absolutely recommend them. I mean, I think I could probably say this with confidence, but 2022, these are probably going to be my favorite powder blushes. Well, that is my review of SUQQU's Seaglass collection pre-summer 2022. Let me know what you think of all of this below. Yes, it might be difficult to get this collection, but fingers crossed, good luck. I hope you're able to grab something. And if not, I do highly endorse items from their permanent collection as well. If you have any questions about the permanent collection, I'm happy to answer any of your questions and also do swatch comparisons if you have any requests. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.